Hello, book besties. Brianna Sanchez here, your next favorite romance author. Today, we are going to be going over my July reading wrap-up. There's like an alarm going off. It's so annoying. Okay, so while we are going over the wrap-up, as always, I will be having a Fable open to give you guys my exact ratings. Okay, so to start off with, I think we're going to start with the audiobooks. So first up on the list, I read The Shippers by Catherine Center. So this was my first Catherine Center book, and it was basically like a friends to lovers romance. This girl was going to get married to someone, but she basically leaves her fiance at the altar, and her best friend is her best man at the wedding, and she realizes that she's actually in love with him. So it's a really good story. My first Catherine Center book, but still didn't really live up to the hype of what I thought her rom-coms were gonna be like. I rated it a 2.75, so it definitely wasn't for me. This was also her latest release, but I own 2 physical books by her that I still want to give a chance. I also want to read The Bodyguard because it's getting adapted to film, and the 2 main characters that they casted, I'm literally obsessed with. It's Leanne Meester, the girl from Gossip Girl, and then the guy that plays Dean from Gilmore Girls. So literally so well casted, but I don't know, like I don't think besides what I own in that book that I'll really read much of hers unless those books like live up to the hype. Next, I listened to The Summer Share by Jen McKinley, and it was good. This was my first book by her as well. I think it was a recent release because I saw the cover for this come up on Goodreads, and that's how I picked the book. I really liked it. I saw it being talked about a little bit on TikTok, not any crazy commotion over it, but I rated it a 3.5. I liked it. I didn't love it. I feel like it was still lacking something, but it was super interesting. For a while, I did not know where the plot of the story was gonna go, but basically this girl appears in this house and this guy appears there as well, and she's like, well, what are you doing here? I live here. He's like, no, I live here. And they're like, well, my grandpa left me this house. And he's like, well, my grandpa left me this house. So then they're like, well, do we have the same grandpa we didn't know about? But they realized they have different grandpas, but their grandpas were actually lovers. They were literally lovers, and these grandchildren of theirs did not know. Like, none of the family knew that they were gay and lovers for each other. Like, they were literally living a double life. So it was kind of crazy for them to realize that, and so they start realizing that there was this whole life about their grandpas that they didn't know, and obviously, like, along the way they fall in love. So it was a good story for sure. Okay, next I listened to a self-help book, and that is Let That Shit Go by Nina Purwall. This was a good book for sure. It had the potential, but it didn't change my life. I feel like there are self-help books that I'm like, wow, this was life-changing. I'm going to grasp this information and keep it with me for the next however many years. This one didn't do that for me, although it was good. I rated it a 2-star. Like I said, just wasn't that amazing for me. Moving on to probably my favorite audio book of the month. That is Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. Obviously, I rated that a 5-star. Cara Bastone knows how to write, girl. Like, she has become my new favorite author. No matter what, was a 5-star for me as well, or almost a 5-star, but I'm changing it to a 5-star. Like, she is literally so good. This was a story about a girl who is overcoming loss. She is grieving her best friend, pretty much the only love she's ever known in her life. She is kind of struggling on how to move on. She meets someone during a babysitting gig that is also struggling to become like the fun uncle and to have a place in his family's life, because he just learned that he has this side of the family that he never knew about. So he's trying to like make a place for himself in their life without like overstepping and like doing it the wrong way. So he's getting this girl's help, and so they're kind of helping each other because he's helping her overcome grief because he's overcame grief before. Anyways, it was so well written. They obviously fall in love, and just Cara Bastone knows how to write. The way she describes things is so magical. It feels like you're reading like honey. Like, It feels like you're inhaling poetry through her writing. I don't even know how to describe it. She's just such a beautiful writer. You have to read one of her books if you haven't read her already. Okay, next, I read my least favorite audiobook. I have the physical copy here because I started reading it and I didn't like it. So I decided to do the audio and I still didn't like it. And that is Silver Girl by Ellen Hildebrand. I rated this a 0.5 star. Listen, I think I'm just not an Ellen Hildebrand fan because this is my second book by her, and I believe the other one was rated like a 1 or 2 star as well. I'm not a fan. I have 2 more books by her, so I'll probably read them, but after that, I don't know if I'll really give her that much more of a chance because she's just not for me. And that's not to be rude, it's just not for me. And I thought this was going to be such a good book. Like, I've been so excited to read this book for so long, like this one specifically, and I think I got this at Goodwill. I found it. When I found it, I was so excited. No, kind of disappointing, to be honest. Next, I listened to another Anna Huang book, and that was If Love Had a Price. Also didn't love this. This series, I'm slowly making my way through just to finish it, just because I want to finish every Anna Huang book, because after like this book I'm about to tell you, I only have one more book of hers to read, and I will have completed every book in her universe, because I do love her. I love her newer books, but these old books, you could tell how much her writing has grown. I don't know. They're just not for me. So this one is If Love Had a Price, and I rated that a 2 star. I did not like it. I really didn't. It's basically kind of like a whole fake dating thing, and I don't know. It was weird. It was definitely weird. So that basically concludes all of my audiobooks. Let's move on to the physical books now, because this is where it gets good. So starting off strong, I read Fury Bound, which is book 2 in the Wolves of Ruin series. This is by Sable Sorensen. You guys saw that I read Dire Bound before the summer started, and that was a 5-star read for me. That was one of my favorite books, one of my favorite fantasy books, like new discoveries, everything, and one of my favorite books I read this year, to be honest. But this book did not quite make it to the 5-star mark for me, but still was so good. It was a 4.5 overall. I loved it so much, but I felt like the same way I felt with Iron Flame. Like, there was just a lot of things going on. It was moving the plot along, but I feel like once we get to the 3rd book, it's gonna get even better. The 1st book was definitely the best though. I don't know if it's because she's going through like all these challenges or what. This one was still very good because you see Marin like trying to figure out how she's going to take on her new queen role, and basically her relationship with Stark and like how that's forming, and her kind of stepping down from the alpha role because they want her to like put her full energy into like one role instead of like half-assing both roles. So like that makes a lot of sense. It was very well written. There was a lot of twists and turns like I did not see coming. You get a lot of Stark's point of view in this, which I really liked, more than you would get like Xaden's point of view in the 4th Wing series. But so good. I highly recommend this series. I am so excited for the 3rd one to come out, and I'm so annoyed because I don't think it comes out until May of 2027, so I have a long ways to wait, but so good. Okay, moving on, I read One Golden Summer, and this was such a good read. I actually have a full-on reading vlog of me reading One Golden Summer, so if you guys want to go check out that video, it's right here. This was rated a 4-star. It did not live up to the hype of Every Summer After for me, but it was still so good. You guys can see all my annotations. Like, I loved it so much. So this is Alice talking to Charlie, and she's like, tell me what you saw in the photos, Charlie. And he goes, I saw a man who couldn't keep his eyes off you, a man who hasn't looked so happy in a very long time. I saw a man who finally found the kind of person he always wanted for himself, a best friend, a smartass, a brilliant, talented, caring woman who deserves so much more than him. I saw something else in those photos. I saw myself falling in love with you. I'm in love with you, Alice. I knew the day you crashed John's boat that you were going to be trouble for me. I should have kept my distance, but I couldn't stay away. And the more I got to know you, the more beautiful and terrifying it became, until I knew I'd finally found the person I've been waiting for. And she goes, let's leave the groveling for when you have more energy and back up to the part that came before. He goes, the part where I tell you I love you? She goes, yes, that part. I liked that part a lot. He goes, I love you, Alice Everly. Like, shut up. Literally shut up. Overall, this is a very good book. I think I fell in love with it more at the end, for sure. I feel like sometimes the Carly Fortune's books, it's like it works its way up. Definitely, that's how most books are, and I'm aware of that, but with hers, it's a little bit more like not until page 150 am I loving it or starting to love it. But definitely love that book. I'm happy I finally got that off my TBR. So, okay, next I read another Carly Fortune book, and that is Our Perfect Storm. Again, I have a reading vlog just over this book if you guys want to go check that out. And I have to tell you guys, this was a 5-star read for me. This was such a good book. This is probably my favorite Carly Fortune book now. This is her recent release. I think it just came out in the month of May, and she did not disappoint. This was so good. This was a friends to lovers romance. She is very, very good about writing stuff like that. I also read this during stormy weather for a majority of the time, so it was like the perfect scene. It's not just the stormy weather that makes that title accurate. It is all that goes on between their friendship, their relationship, and their love. And it was so beautiful to read. I highly recommend that. It's basically this girl who is about to get married to someone. She is in love with this person, and that person ends up leaving her. And then she later finds out why he left her, but for the longest time, she doesn't know. And so while she's in this limbo moment, trying to figure out why this guy left her, her best friend George takes her on what was supposed to be her honeymoon, and they kind of develop their friendship into a relationship. And then once you get to the climax, she finds out why her fiance really left her, and she questions everything about herself. So if you guys are looking for a Carly Fortune book to start with, I would definitely start with that. But if you are just thinking about if you should read that book or not, this is your sign. Go read that book. Next, I read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is going to be in a reading vlog coming up. It's called This Video Ends with a 5-star read. So you guys should go check that out. That's coming out soon. And oh my gosh, this book did not disappoint. So this was actually, I am not going to give my rating for that because then that's going to spoil the whole video for you guys. Yeah, so you guys go watch that video so you can see what I rated that. But this was a very good book nonetheless, I will just say that. So you guys can see all my annotations. And yeah, it's basically a rivals to lovers romance, which I loved. I was not expecting. I also really liked this because I feel like I read a lot about opposites attract, and this couple in the story was actually like the same person. So that was really fun to read. The banter in this was so fun. Let me just read you guys a couple different lines in here. My favorite part of this banter was her sister, Libby. Her sister, Libby, goes, "It's not casual dating if you know the other person's blood type." That was so funny. And then the banter between Charlie and Nora was equally as good because, like I said, they're rivals, so they talk very blunt towards one another. And so one thing Charlie goes is, "Hello, are you broken? Did my nose go directly into your brain?" Like, they literally talk like this to each other, and it was just so cute. But like, you know what I mean? And here's another funny one. He says, "For every kernel of information you offer, Stevens, there are 100 new questions." And it's so funny because what he means by that is like, she would say something so off the wall about herself that he's like, "When I think I'm getting closer to knowing you, like, there are 100 more questions." I just love it. I love them. Okay, next, this is also part of my 5-star reading video. Like, this video ends when I reached a 5-star. I am not going to tell you guys my rating for this book either. I did not annotate this one. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like annotating. Sometimes I don't at this point. I'm very new to annotating, so that's kind of like my mantra, is just whenever I feel like it. But this is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I did half of this audio, half of it physical, which I also did with Book Lovers. This was the third one in the little trilogy of hers. It's a standalone series. So now I've completed it, which made me so happy. I loved The Love Hypothesis, and I loved Love Theoretically, so really happy about that. This was a workplace romance and kind of a minor enemies to lovers. Okay, actually, no, I wouldn't say that because she thinks like he hates him, and she mentions it multiple times, and he's like, I don't hate you. So I actually take that back about the enemies to lovers, because that's not what that was. But that was a really fun book to read. The female main character was a little bit different than like the normal female main characters I read. Like, she has pink hair, she has a bunch of piercings, and she has a really funny like attitude towards herself. She loves like Star Wars, and she's a geek, and it's like really fun to read someone so different. So I had a lot of fun reading that, and the whole plot of the story was really intriguing. So you guys go watch that video once it comes out so you can find out what my rating was for that book. Unfortunately, this video is coming out first, so I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Moving on, I read The Sun Is Also a Star. I mainly did this on audio. This is not a part of that video, so I'll tell you guys my rating, and my rating is a 1 star. That is so bad. So I was really excited for this because I read the book Everything Everything by this author, Nicola Yoon, and unfortunately I just didn't like it. I still want to watch the adaptation because I've never seen it. I remember seeing the adaptation and like being the trailer for it when it came out and being so excited to watch it, but I never did. And then I was so excited to read this. This has been on my shelf for so long, and I just didn't like it. I don't know. I think I'm not the right audience for this anymore, but I understand, like, it was a National Book Award finalist, and I could understand freshman year me in high school eating this book up, or even just like any grade in high school probably eating this book up, but it definitely was not for me at this age anymore. I couldn't tell you why that is, because it still had a really good plot and premise and storyline, but I did not relate to the characters. Even though I am like a first generation in my family came over here from Cuba, and I was a first gen college student. I also was going to school for something I wasn't really into. Like, there was a lot of relatable things in that sense, but I did not relate to the characters. I feel like they weren't described well enough for me, but that's just my personal opinion. Now, lastly, moving on to my Kindle reads. I only read 2 Kindle reads this month, and that is because it took me a freaking long ass time to finish Rules for the Summer by Megan Quinn. Do you guys remember me reading this in my vlog where it was how much I could read in a week? Yeah, I was still reading this in the month of July. I don't know why it took me so freaking long to read that book, but it did. I unfortunately had to give it a 1.75 star. Book bestie Sarah was buddy reading that with me, and she gave it a 1 star. Like, we literally were like, when is this book going to be over? It was way too long. The whole book overall could have been so much better if it wasn't so long, because it was a great story. The writing was great. I love Megan Quinn. This is not going to make me hate Megan Quinn, because I like so many other books of hers, but this was like way too long. Let me set the scene. So it's basically this guy who is looking for a wife, and this girl who is looking for money for someone, like a financer, for someone to put money towards her business that she is about to open. So they find each other on the same app, and he flies down to meet her, and he proposes, and she's like, wait, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm asking you to be my fiance, like for you to marry me. She's like, I'm not looking for a fiance. He's like, well, what are you doing on fiancer.com? And she's like, I thought that was financer.com. So it was the funniest thing, funniest mistake, funniest plot. Like, I've never heard that before. Such a good storyline, and it just shows you how quirky these characters are. So I think her name is Renly, the female main character. She basically didn't realize her mistake, because when she did all this looking for a financer, she had like way too many margaritas. And anyways, he ends up staying because he wants to see it out and hope that she will agree to be his fiance at the end of the book. So yeah, basically, I felt like the premise of the story was great. Megan Quinn is, again, a great author, but this was way too long. And lastly, for my Kindle reads, and for the last book I read in the month of July, The Romance Rivalry by Susan Lee. And I read this book because I bought tickets to see Susan Lee in person in Miami in the month of August. So I'm so excited to see her, to meet her. You guys are going to have to watch that video once I post that. But basically, she was doing a book tour, and to be honest, I'd never read a Susan Lee book before. When I bought the tickets are really cheap, so that's why I went with it. But she also is having BK Borison there asking her questions. So I honestly was going for BK Borison because I've read First Time Caller and Now Back to You and Good Spirits. So I love her. I'm really excited to go and get my book signed. But this is also like my first author event, so I'm like geeking over this. But I was like, why am I gonna go see Susan Lee and get a book by her and have this opportunity without reading a book by her? So I decided to read this. I'm not gonna lie, I rated it like a 1.5 star. Did not like it that much. I felt like the whole idea of the story could have been attempted a lot better. I feel like the writing wasn't strong enough. I didn't relate to the characters, and I wasn't like wanting to keep reading the book. It was a struggle for me to like continue reading it, to be honest, for how short it was, especially. But I am going to give her another chance because my ticket comes with a book signed by her, and it's her latest release called See You at Sunset. So I'm excited to read that. I'm sure her writing has grown. I'm also going to read another book by her before I go in the month of August because I would really like to have those two books. I'm also going to order them physically just so I can have them signed by her and I can support her. But yeah, that's basically my rating with that book, unfortunately, but it's okay. Authors grow. I literally started from 0 and I'm now working my way up slowly but surely. I know that my rating has grown, so that's why I'm not going to judge an author, but unfortunately that is my rating for her. Anyways, as you can see, those are all the books I read for the month of July. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you'll enjoy me in my next videos. In the meantime, watch my other videos that I mentioned, like my reading vlogs for Our Perfect Storm, One Golden Summer. Now, when this video ends with a 5-star, I am excited for you guys to see all those videos. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I love you guys so much, book besties. Make sure you like this video, comment, and subscribe. Love you so much. Bye.